G'day everyone, you are watching the Sydney City Space Slugs coming to you live with our first round of the brand new TTS League. Joining me in the commentary box is once again Oleg. Thanks for joining me today, Oleg. How are you going?
Good, and good to be back.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So we've got a Chris on the left as the red player, and we have Theo or Harith on the right with the blue player. So this is first round. So I guess we'll quickly explain the format. This season we are doing open rosters, so you can sort of turn up to each game with absolutely anything that you want. And yeah, this time around we've got what do we got? We got Theo playing some hybrid Galactic Republic bounty hunters, and we've got Chris playing the dark side. So just what do you? How about you go through Theo's roster, Oleg?
Yeah, no problem. We've got a two squad split, one squad of bounty hunters, one squad of Republic. So heading up the Republic, we've got Darth Vader Jedi Hunter, bringing his melee boost to the entire strike team, followed by Captain Rex, and then the ARF clone troopers. Gonna hand out exposures everywhere, especially given the payday on the bounty hunters. Then in the second squad, we've got Cad Bane with all of his movement and bonus damage shenanigans. On top of that, critical force refresh. Django Fett because he's everywhere, and probably the best bounty hunter. And then the bounty hunters themselves, just fantastic mobile 4-point support. And Payday lets them gain access to either Rex's dash or the ARF's expose on demand.
Absolutely, yeah. So some super solid rosters or squads forming a strike team. What are your thoughts on playing a point down with Cad Bane? Noting that he is a 9 squad point primary, we are only playing with 8 squad points on Theo's side. What do you reckon about that?
I think it's a very interesting play. There's nothing that prevents you from playing a point down, and especially in the case of Django, you don't really feel any downside with him playing a point down compared to Aura. He hits just as hard. He has slightly less range, but he's significantly more mobile. He's got a refresh built in. He's got diceless displacement. He's got an ability not so fast to potentially skip an enemy activation or just deal great chip damage. Just everything about Django is fantastic, and I'm not. Um, and in the case of Django, playing a point down, it's no issue at all.
Yeah, not a problem.
Mm.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so over on Chris's side, we do have a classic. We have General Grievous, we have Kraken, we have the B2 battle droids. So there's a lot of movement shenanigans here. Grievous activates, he moves a supporting unit or a separatist battle droid unit. Kraken activates, he also moves a battle droid unit. B2 droids follow people around, and then Kalani moves people and Magna Guard follow people. So a lot of hyper out of activation movement. We've got some excellent displacement capacity with Asajj Ventress. We've got some excellent displacement capacity with the Magna Guard as well, and some really durable supporting units there that can protect our fragile primaries. So it's going to be a really interesting match. Off the cuff here, would you say that any specific side is preferred, Oleg?
Not
Any
really
advantage?
here. Separatists can sit on all the points significantly faster than Republic can, especially as this list only has one out of activation move, being Rex's tactical ability. I guess
Mm.
CAD's reactive also, so two, in a sense. So the Separatists are going to be everywhere, and the Republic doesn't have much recourse other than to wound them off points or displace them. So I think early we're going to see a Separatist point lead if they can open with Kalani, Kraken, or even just the supports themselves.
Mm.
And then we'll see if the firepower coming out of the Republic, primarily Vader, Django, and Cad, is going to be enough to take them off points, given the lack of diceless displacement outside of Django's capture wire.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think
Absolutely.
it'll be the Republic racing to deal with the initial scoring advantage of the Separatists is going to be my guess for how things will start.
Okay, absolutely. G'day, Desert Spiral. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoy this game. Let us know who you think is maybe preferred or you'd prefer to win in this matchup if you're going for the Galactic Republic Bounty Hunters or the Separatists. So, Oleg, we do have Chris as the first player. So this is sort of what you're talking about. We're in a potential point lead situation. Who are you hoping for as your first pull? And what do you think your general activation preference order would be? Would you want to go heavy primary first or heavy support first? I know Separatists are in a sort of strange location in that they want probably reverse order than most factions do. What do you think about that?
Typically, I'd say you want either of the super tacticals first. Given how Kalani is so far on the right hand side of Chris's board, only realistically affecting the Magna Guards, I'm not so sure you want the typical separatist Kalani opener. So I think
Mm-hmm.
Kraken, Kalani, or even Grievous just to start pushing things up would be a pretty good start.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, and what about for Theo's side, for Cad Bane, etc.? How do you think he prefers to start the game and play on?
Um, that's a bit of a hard one. Probably either probably Rex or Cad, actually, I think. Because you don't
Yeah,
want to have
Cad's
to
a strange one.
expose. Yeah, Cad has pseudo coordinated fire range 4, so he wants to sit somewhere he can safely plink away without getting easily engaged. Um,
Definitely.
and Rex can push up very easily, have double hunkers, which makes him a very resilient to ranged attacks, which this separatist list is going to be raining fire.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
the ARF do not want to go early because they're just going to be shredded.
Yeah, 100. I mean, Grievous and the super tactical droids, etc., are fantastic at shredding ARFs. So that'll be really interesting to see.
Yeah,
So
as
we
soon
have
as
pulled B2s first. In fact, we pulled the Shatterpoint first, and then we've promptly reserved it or shuffled that back into the deck, and then drawn the B2 battle droids. How do you make this play? Moving up with the B2s, noting that the excellent B2 killer that is Darth Vader is on the other side, directly across from them. Where would you try and position them? Looks like Chris is actually going for a bit of an alpha strike here, or maybe not.
or not, yeah. Um, I think I would have kept the Shatterpoint and would have
Yep.
gone with either of the super tacticals just to get that early
Yes.
positioning. Because any support that sits on a point directly in front of Vader, those two right in front of him, are just going to die. That's what Vader
Mm-hmm.
does. He double moves, and if you're contesting that objective and you're not a primary, you're most likely dead.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just putting the
Absolutely.
B2s here, especially given it's the first activation they can't attack with their pretty good shooting, I feel like they're just going to move forward, take a point, not score because it's turn 1, and then get eliminated fairly early.
So
As
you're saying you would have preferred maybe a super tactical droid to go. That would be Kraken or Kalani. Move everyone forward, try and capture some points, and then sort of accept
Definitely.
fate. Yeah, because
Hmm.
I think with the B2s, you really want to leverage their abilities as quickly as possible before they get wounded.
Yes,
Just
as
for the
soon as
audience,
they're
those
wounded,
abilities that we're talking about.
saturation fire is a tall order, especially in a list with
Exactly.
Ventress who wants 4 force if she wants to do everything in her own turn.
Yeah, definitely. So let's have a look at who Theo pulled. He did pull the notorious hunter Cad Bane, and this actually might be a really good little shout for Cad. I do note that he probably doesn't want to be right in the middle because that allows him to be engaged incredibly quickly. But putting him maybe at range 2 of at the farthest point forward at range 2, to make sure that he gets his coordinated fire would be a pretty good shout. What do you think about that play?
I agree with it completely. A really interesting thing about this map is this center point is protected from your standard Vader Grievous double advance in a way because of the wall. If you're hanging at range 2 on
Indeed.
the other side of the structure, without some like a Rex tactical ability or something to move your double advancing primary up, it can't get to the Ingress point into range from the other side of the table.
Mm. Hmm. Okay,
If
so I'll
it's
just
yeah,
comment on some of the chat
yeah, no problem.
questions. So we've got Desert Spiral asking who my co-host is. So my co-host is the famous Olek of Oceanic fame, a Victorian player and a very good Shatterpoint player. Made top 4 of the last league. Is that correct?
Yes, top four.
Top 4, yep. And Wargaming Dad says morning or evening. For us, it's evening. For you, I believe it might be morning. And then we've got one more question. At the very least, move that central B2 up on the ground level behind the building to force the center flip.
I
So
agree
yeah,
completely. That was something I
I
was getting to.
yeah, yeah. So that might have forced the central play from Cad Bane, or maybe forced him to a lateral point, being the one closest to the bottom of the camera. I do think that this might be a little bit too aggressive early on with Cad, and that's just my own play experience. I found that
Yeah,
once Cad gets engaged, noting that Theo hasn't brought Obi 2 along here, that is Obi-Wan out of hiding to move him out of being engaged. He is quite vulnerable. What do you think about that, Oleg?
I agree. Cad in the center. As soon as Cad gets engaged, or he can only add value to the team during his own activation. And given he just activated,
Mm,
outside of Shatterpoint and Cad, as soon as we see him engaged, he's going to lose a lot of value. And
yeah, yeah.
Grievous's massive base probably going to be able to, or maybe able to engage him here. I think it's a
It's looking
bit
a
bit
little bit
far.
too far out. Yeah,
I'm
but at the very least, you can definitely shoot Cad Bane with your ranged attack on
definitely,
Cunning Warlord, and
and
that'll
the
allow you to push, maybe not even push Cad off, but you just follow up and keep him engaged.
yeah, that's what I was
Um,
going to say. The step one shove on the range attack guarantees you get into melee. Now, Cad does have a
yep,
jump on 3 expertise, which means Cad could always jump backwards, and this will happen post shove. So he'll be
yep.
able to see where Grievous ends up, and it is a heal then jump. So even with the step 2 pin, Cad will be able to escape it.
So it looks like we've got. I think we are going to get the step 1 shove. I think 2 expertise on Grievous is 2
2
successes on
hits.
his
Yep.
ranged attack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so we are
we've
going to get 1 through, which is exactly what we need for Grievous here. I would say don't shove Cad Bane and just follow up to get him engaged, and that
agreed.
essentially turns off half of his kit. What do you think?
Yep, that would be exactly my play here. As soon as
Yeah.
you couldn't melee Cad, locking him down is the next best play.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. I do think
Does
Chris is going to go for the shove here. I don't know. I mean, look, Shatterpoint is a points game. What do you think? Would you prefer the point or keep Cat engaged?
um ooh, that's a hard one.
It is,
Uh
isn't it?
hmm. Given Grievous is just sitting there now in perfect Cad range, I'm a little skeptical of shoving him off.
Mm.
What would have been preferable is the B2 having taken it earlier, Cad having to jump on top. That ends in the same situation, doesn't it?
Yeah, you could
If
have
Cad,
dashed in and maybe appetited up the B2 as well. That could have happened if he left him in range. I'm not sure if we measured for a range 3 appetite there,
yeah.
but then you'd have
Also,
2 bodies on the point, etc.
protection protocols was also not taken.
Yes, protection protocols, of course, and onward is
And
not
yeah,
taken either.
ooh,
Yeah. Couple of
yeah,
missed triggers there, but that's okay. So we've pulled Django Fett for Theo's next activation.
hmm yeah. That's a
So
nice.
we could go. I mean, it's a nice pull, and it would have been nice to counter Grievous's engage, and we are deciding to go with Django here. So we've got a few triggers to go. We could lock down Grievous with a pin, etc., with capture wire and take the point back, which would sort of exacerbate the importance of dashing up those B2s with onwards and with appetite for destruction.
Definitely.
Yeah. And now it looks like we're just going to try and control the B2s and put some damage on them. I think that's probably a good play, especially if they can get a strain on the B2s, making saturation fire all that more
hmm
difficult to obtain
And
and trigger
making
is
any
quite a good
potential
play.
Kraken or Kalani play significantly worse.
Exactly. So we are shooting at the B2s, and I do like that
Agreed.
with Bounty Hunter. So it looks like we are just rolling 6. So it was a move action, a capture wire, a
Okay.
jump with the force, and now an attack. So we've got 2 blocks into 5 successes, so it'll be 3 going through.
And yeah, getting the
for
strain on with
Django.
2.
Exactly. Yep. So it's probably going to be 5 damage down to 4 with a strain and a free jump for Django. I wonder, do you hear, if you're Theo, noting that you'll take the point, do you jump Django back out of the middle point there and sort of keep him safe, or do you just let him tank all of the shots with Beskar armor? What's your preference?
If Grievous is in range of that objective, I would stay up top to take it. If Grievous is not in range of the objective, I would jump back behind the wall. Because Grievous, he's waiting on a Shatterpoint. Yes, it leaves Django open to be wounded by Grievous when Grievous reactivates, but it also leaves you in the perfect position to damage Grievous and set up for it not so fast.
It does. It does. Yeah. So what we're seeing here, guys, in the chat is we've seen the jump off the combat tree with Django Fett on his 3rd success, and then we've also had a force being paid for Cad Bane. No one gets between me and my job because he was outside of range 4 of the B2 battle droids. He got to jump up onto the point, which is furthering the ability for him to get engaged. But he will score 3 points. He, being Theo, will score 3 points. And we will see what we get pulled for Chris. So we do see Asajj, and I don't think now is the time to pull her.
No.
But there are some plays that you could use. You could use her to displace both Django and Cad Bane off that point and take the point back. That is interesting. But what do you think? Do you go up and take that play?
It's such a force-intensive play. Both of them are hard to kill. Even Cad 2 damage on him that requires another 7. Asajj really struggles to do the 7th point of damage. He can get to 6 fairly quickly. 7's a bit more difficult. And then it's
we're going for it though.
it's being gone for, yeah. If it works, it'll be a huge swing.
Yeah.
I'm just worried it's going to drain Chris of all his force without taking the center objective.
Yep, completely agree. So we are seeing a protection protocols trigger here off the Magna Guard. And whilst Chris resolves that, we've got Desert Spiral in the chat saying if she can jump up there, she can at least tie up Cad and potentially heal the pin off GG. Yep, that is absolutely correct. So who is your preferred target? Cad or I feel like it's Cad.
But Cad has the jump on his defense.
That's true. That's true.
They have roughly, needs no introduction, they have roughly the same defensive stats. Cad doesn't get an extra block at 3+ expertise, but he gets a heal and a jump, which is, assuming he's not one-shot by the attack, just as good.
So we don't know who goes here, but we are getting that sweet 3 critical results on Asajj.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what she's so good at, right? Just getting those, that...
So...
6 damage.
Stayed in Makashi.
Yeah, I think Makashi's the best form for Asajj's attacks. She gets 1 expertise turning into 2 crits, and she almost averages a perfect 1 critical result on a natural 7 dice. So she's basically guaranteed to get 6 damage and a whole bunch of triggers here, which I think is fantastic. I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like she did end up attacking Django here. Yes. And I think we don't trigger force push and maybe just tie up Cad. What do you reckon about that? Or do you want the point?
It's early enough that you could get away with just leaving Cad engaged. I'm always a little nervous about deliberately letting your opponent scoring more.
Yep.
Giving anyone any extra resources or extra points. Yeah.
Forcing Cad to spend the force on the jump though might be quite nice, but I think leaving Cad engaged could be a good thing here. But it's a tricky sort of play to think about, I'd say. You are right in that it's early enough, and you do have a Shatterpoint to potentially go deeper. So Chris has decided to just leave it and score 2, but he hasn't flipped over into Asajj's other side, which I would suggest, given that her expertise is very nice on the other side.
Agreed. seems like a mistake not to flip stance.
And we've pulled the ARF troopers up for Theo. So this is where we can position them nicely to get some counterattacks into Asajj from the expose. Would cost a bunch of resources to get them over there in range 5 and put them dangerously close to Grievous, but it is a play and it's probably worth it, noting that, you know, you got Django, Cad, and Vader, all very capable of doing up to 9 damage on their combat trees into an Asajj, who's quite fragile.
Yes, definitely. So putting these ARF forward is going to give them a lot of very valuable targets to expose. And assuming we're not seeing a Shatterpoint soon for Grievous to come along and smack him on the head, then I think this is a good play.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
and
at
what
the
do you
mercy
make
of Chris's order deck.
Yeah. What do you make of no one capturing the closest to the camera point over here? Do you think,
I think
that...
that's just a consequence of luck on the order deck. Neither of them have pulled... Oh, well, Asajj was pulled.
She wants to engage Cad, though.
Yes, I think it would have been a waste of her activation to just run forward and capture the objective. Okay. That would have...
so we are having a crack into the B2 battle droids with the ARF troopers. Let's see how we pull up. The ARF troopers...
The shooting is
surprising what a good expertise tree can do, right?
Yeah. Oh, and that's a pretty shocking roll on the B2 defense.
Yeah, it is. So that's going to be 3 successes for the ARF troopers. It won't be enough to wound them, noting that there is protection, etc. But yeah, putting them dangerously close.
And it exposes them potentially for the next shot.
Oh, it does. That's okay. So we've actually gone for the disarm and not the expose, but that's fair enough.
Oh yeah, they've got so little wounds left. A single success? No, need 2 successes to wound them. I
need 3 actually.
Ooh, interesting. They are strained, which
They are. So we're actually shooting Asajj now. Interesting. So now we're just leaving them in the danger zone for strain, I believe.
That's fair. That's a pretty valid play, especially with all the separatists out of activation.
Successes. 5 successes into...
assuming this is Asajj.
Yeah.
Yeah, her defense expertise in Makashi is not impressive.
Yeah, I'll see if I can flip it over to the other side for the viewers.
If you press Alt Shift,
down.
Q will rotate it, and
Q
not
will rotate it.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Yep. So that is the defensive expertise. So it wouldn't have made a difference in this instance, but it is just a better tree to be in, and it can really turn down some of those nasty crit results that you don't want to see with Asajj. But it will be 2 damage and a pin on her, which isn't the worst thing in the world, noting that she's sort of where she wants to be. But if anyone doesn't want to be pinned, it's probably Asajj.
Agreed. Especially if she picks up a wound.
Yep, absolutely. So who have we pulled? We've pulled the Shatterpoint. Yep. This is probably where, we're thinking about going with Grievous or one of the big dogs to try and get some damage in here. I think an easy target would be the ARF troopers. He's almost guaranteed to wound them. You could also pick on some of the people that haven't, launched off the finish line yet in the bounty hunters and control them a little bit. But I think the ARF troopers are too tasty a target to go for, no?
I agree. Anytime you can easily wound ARFs, or any clone really, they're such an easy target. It gives him a double... the heal's not going to be relevant for Grievous. But does he have a jump on his quad arm?
He does. Oh, it's all rotated now. He does on 3 successes.
Well, when I flip his card, I'm just seeing 2 Cunning Warlord. I'm not seeing any quad arm.
Okay. I'm pretty sure there's a jump on Grievous's card, yeah. Pretty sure.
Because there's the potential scuttle into ARF, wound them with a single attack, movement off the tree, advance onto the uncaptured objective.
Yeah.
That seems like a very doable move.
So it looks like what we're thinking about here is going with Grievous and triggering protection protocols with the Magna Guard to try and get them up on the point. To potentially protect Asajj a little bit more, which I like. But we have decided to go with Kraken, which is interesting. Kraken is a good Shatterpoint trigger. Yes. I think now, he can do some healing, do some tactical networking to heal maybe the the B2s here of their strain or something similar. He can also move the Magna Guard up into a good position. He could take that ingress point or, take this point here.
No, that's if I wasn't looking at Grievous, Kraken would have been my other pick. Just get the Magnus moving, take that unclaimed objective.
Yep, definitely. So who's your target of choice now? Do you just try and go into Cad Bane and put a couple of wounds in there?
Given that almost certainly the ARFs, there's a potential to get the shot on an ARF.
Just need to be careful of engaging, the Django
Fett.
Fett here. Yep. And we will see who he decides to shoot. Wants to make sure that he's in tactical network range. Won't really be able to trigger it. I mean, you can just wound them if you want, but I don't love that.
Because it doesn't prevent the tactical network because they're not wounded inside of their own activation.
Yeah. There. That's. I mean, look, you can do it, but wounding them and freeing up that top point is dangerous. And that's exactly what Kraken does. Look at that. So it's 4 blocks into 6 successes. So he will get 2, which isn't amazing, but it is the option of 2 pushes or a pin and a shove. And a pin Django is not a happy Django either.
No.
Oh, that's the wrong tree. So it is a pin and a shove or a double shove. And either way, it's going to be 3 damage, which is nice. Not going to be able to shove him anywhere, so just put the conditions on, give him 3 damage. And we actually got the wound. We got the wound on Django there, so that's nice.
That is very, very big. Making not so fast cost 2 is huge.
Yes.
Especially with CAD, where not so fast can refresh potentially 4 force.
We are thinking about triggering the tactical network, but Chris is hovering his mouse over the strain, so it might not be the thing that we want to do. Yeah, it will work on the Magna Guards.
Could dash the Magna on the unclaimed point to melee CAD, though I don't think that's a good line. Or just move the back Magna up and give the unit a hunker is another decent option.
Yeah, I mean, either way, you're getting a point, right? Putting another body in CAD range is not a bad idea, I think, just because it makes him harder to displace one character. But we're just deciding to not trigger it, conserve some force, and score 3 points, which I think is also a good play here, and get a momentum as well. So let's see who Theo has drawn.
It's the Shatterpoint.
Ooh, okay. So what do? You go with Cad and get him out of there, or you just go Vader ham?
Other than Grievous, I guess he can also probably reach a Ventress as well.
I don't know if he can. I mean, he can't take the middle point because then Grievous will engage him and he won't be able to climb. He would be able to potentially throw his lightsaber, which is a good shout against an exposed Ventress. That's not bad. But he could also Rex it here and go for the push on the B2s or the wound, and that would score him 3 as well.
I don't think Vader is the option here. Vader is realistically only going to deal some damage to Grievous. It's very unlikely for Vader, even with the exposed, to do all 11 damage.
Yeah,
requires full tree with good expertise.
Yeah, look, a full health Grievous is not really a viable option. We could go for a saber throw with the Dark Lord to take the top point and make it a little bit more difficult for Chris to shift it back to him. I do like the Rex play here, but also Shatterpointing Rex feels a little sad, you know?
I don't mind it. Rex, that tactical ability is fantastic.
It's good.
And his gun is good. Range 5, double shoves on the first 2, double shove in the first 2 steps. Excellent. Can spike 5 damage and 3 successes, which won't kill anyone from full health, but is a fantastic finisher. I think outside of Cad and Padme, it's the best ranged damage in the early steps on a tree we've seen. Yeah.
So we are going for Vader here. We're going to throw our saber at the B2s over there. And he has triggered Vader's Fury, so it's basically guaranteeing the wound, even without rolling dice. But it is what it is. And I think at this point, we can largely say that Ventress, maybe for the next little while or next few activations, is relatively safe from Vader's Fury. So Yeah, that's not a bad shout either, I don't think. What do you reckon? I mean, you get a wound, you get a point. Vader does Vader things. Do you like that play, Oleg?
I do. It's not the flashiest Vader turn, but people always underestimate the saber throw with Vader's Fury, a
It's
range 4
massive.
attack that does minimum 2 damage no matter what, if you don't count protection, and it's
Yeah.
likely to do at least 4 in a shove with a single success, which is kind of absurd.
Yeah, it's
Um,
amazing. It's amazing.
it's really good at sniping clones. Double
Yeah,
advance, you can
it
throw
really
into a
is.
back objective. Or back objective. If they're at the front of their back objectives, you can hit them from the center line with Vader's Fury up and potentially
Mm.
one them, which is something people don't really keep in mind. Everyone thinks of the double advance primaries as having a threat range of the center of the table, and they don't really worry about things sitting at the front of their back objectives.
Yeah,
You-
definitely, definitely.
so
There's absolutely a place to explore, I think, in the sort of alpha strike, the back deployment zone with characters like Grievous and Vader with long throws, and we have had a flip into Form 5 Gemso with Vader, which is his more defensive
well,
stance.
he had to make that flip before the attack to saber throw.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And we have had a force refresh as well from Cad Bane, and he will have healed 1 damage from himself as well. Scoring 3, and we're over to Chris to see what he gets for the next flip. What are you hoping for? I mean, that's not the best because there's not really anyone in range. You could go for
It's
the Magna
just
Guard, of
one,
course.
yeah, Magna.
Mm,
Um,
yep.
Django was already wounded. The only realistic shot here is into CAD, which isn't terrible. A
Yeah.
shove. If a single shove can knock um, CAD off, then that's a potential point flip. There's also
Yeah.
tactical network onto either Magna Guard to climb up and whack CAD. A double shove
Exactly.
definitely knocks him off the top.
Mm.
So yeah, just Kalani move forwards. Even if the shot achieves nothing, the tactical network on the Magna Guard should easily secure the center point just with the extra body.
I completely agree. So we could, yeah, as you've said there, like we could have a shove from Kalani into CAD, and we could actually put CAD back into engagement range with Grievous that's on the ground floor there,
Yep.
which would flip the point over to Asajj. We could also have. I hope Chris remembers slip away here because he'll be able to gain a hunker with Asajj and clear the pin because of her being engaged.
Yes. An oft forgotten ability.
It is, but in this case, it would be great just to clear that pin, right?
Yes.
So it's going
Any
to be 8
free mobility
dice.
is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully we'll get a Kalani special here. She's got some
Oh,
fantastic
that's a
expertise
roll.
roll, and that is a beautiful roll. Beautiful roll. So it's going to be how many is 4 expertise on CAD? That's 3 blocks.
I believe it's 3 blocks,
2,
heal, jump. Oh, 2 blocks,
2
heal,
blocks
jump.
heal jump. Yeah, so it's going to be a full tree for the old Kalani here, which could wound CAD quite soundly, which I think is absolutely an option that you take.
I'm pretty
So we've
certain
gone
it's
full
8
tree with Kalani.
exactly. Three, four,
Yeah, there you go.
5. Yep, 8 exactly. It'll wound him.
Yeah, and you probably what conditions do you think you pull there?
Given you, oh, you could go over, and if you didn't want the reposition, given CAD has no pre-existing conditions, I don't think I would be too concerned about putting a single condition on him now, because it'll just be
Hmm,
immediately cleared.
100%.
And given Magna Guards don't apply conditions with their own tactical network,
Yeah, and CAD is
uh,
getting the jump here, unfortunately,
yes. Oh,
which will mean that he will be.
I just got disconnected from the room.
Oh, did you? Yeah, just jump back in. Oh, me too. Okay, I'm just gonna go on. Be right back. Just
Yep.
bear with me, guys. Okay, sorry folks, we are back. We just had a bit of a technical issue, but we have just returned to where Kalani was, but just before her shot, and now we're just resolving the Cad Bane push that we're up to. I'm going to unfortunately have to reset or clear our timer because we're not going to be up to date there anymore, but we have had a full reset basically. So thank you for staying tuned. Okay, so what would you be taking? Do you reckon you just take the reposition on Kalani and get her up a little bit further into the field?
Kalani is sitting. Chris placed them exactly within 2 of that back objective. I think I'd stay put. Given Kalani, there's no Shatterpoint left in the deck. There's still the potential for the struggle to end before Kalani activates again. And it keeps him nicely out of pretty much every major threat except Django. Even Vader. Oh, Vader can potentially make it, but Vader, like 10 damage is a lot, even for Vader. So
yes, I completely agree.
Should keep him nice and safe.
Yeah. So so we've decided. It looks like we've just taken the wound. We've decided not to jump with Cad Bane because we've flipped the point, though we still might flip that over. And now we're seeing a tactical network being... Oh, the tactical network would be triggered first before the jump. Is that correct?
I'm not 100% sure, but Theo is asking if you can promote Chris. He's not back up to full permissions.
Not a problem. Just bear
But I believe we're looking at a 10C versus a 10D, if I remember correctly, in terms of the timing
That is
chart.
correct, yep.
So...
Okay. I would still jump... I would definitely, if given the option, I would jump Cad Bane out of engagement range with Grievous, noting that, you are wounded, but that the wound actually doesn't turn off your no one gets between me and my job. It's just the engaged that does. Yeah. So that's definitely something that I would look at. And we have, I think we're thinking about dashing the Magna Guard. Yep. So we've dashed the Magna Guard a little bit, just a little bit forward with the tactical network, and we might get an attack, a 5 dice attack into Django. That might potentially, heal some conditions off Asajj, or maybe get the Magna Guard into range 2 with a series of pushes, etc. I think I would still take that opportunity.
Agreed. Yeah, it's free.
Yeah. And we are having a crack as well. So this there is an opportunity here, guys, to get a heal if you get deep enough in the tree, or a reposition to join Asajj up on the top position there, which is definitely a good idea. It will be a 6 dice attack thanks to Kalani.
Yeah, Kalani pushing the Magnas back up to their full dice in melee is just disgusting.
Ooh. And that's beautiful as well. That's the 3 crits that you need. Actually, that's a massive roll. So it's just going to be 3 crits, which is all you need to get the reposition up to protect Asajj. And I think that would be the route that I take there.
100%. Yeah, plonking the Magna Guard. Sadly, the Magna Guard won't be able to get to the other side of Ventress, which is where it needs to be to completely protect her from Vader, because there will be a gap where Vader can sit right next to the ladder and still be able to attack Asajj out of engagement. But it's better than nothing. 100%. The cover bonus is going to be relevant for when the Bounty Hunters and Rex pop back up. You can't go wrong having an extra 10 wounds on the point as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's such a tanky supporting unit. I absolutely love the Magna Guard.
I mean, they're more durable than most secondaries.
Yeah, 100%. Looks like we aren't taking the reposition here.
That is an interesting choice, going for the disarm.
It looks like we can't move the struggle. There we go. All right, we're just resetting the struggle tracker there. Yep. Okay, so everything seems to be working again, which is good, and we have flipped the Bounty Hunters over for Theo. So this is the opportunity to flex the Bounty Hunter muscles and take a point back. So they're triggering on the move, on the trail up first here, which is a free ability, and that's what makes them so strong, I think, as a 4-point primary, 4-point support. Just a free move at the beginning of their activation towards any enemy character is fantastic. And their combat tree is not the most flashy thing in the world, but they've got a single success shove, which is fantastic at displacing these Magna Guards here, which is exactly what we are doing. Yep. So having a shot.
This combined with the range 5, which you really don't expect from those tiny pistols.
No, definitely not. And the other good thing about them is 2 expertise is a crit and a damage. So whilst they're not going to get any successes, strikes through here, they are going to get 1 crit, which is enough for the shove, and a damage, which is fantastic. They're just consistent, and that's why I love them so much.
Yes, if you need range 5 shoves, they can get, 2 very consistently out to range 5.
Yeah. And here they've got the option of just sort of maybe doing a little bit more damage. So they didn't take the shove and they just took the 2 damage on their first success. So they can follow up with the second model. And then they can, of course, just move in onto the point to get the double bodies.
Advance for the second.
It is a shame. I definitely would have chosen the reposition on the Magna Guard there on the tree to get them up onto the point with Asajj, or stop this play from happening.
Yes, leaving the Magna Guard sitting on neither point is an interesting choice I really don't agree with.
Okay, so there's 3 successes into, I think it's 3 blocks for the Magna Guard as well. They're very, very strong. Yep, so it's just another 1 success through for the bounty hunters, and this is probably the point where you decide to take the shove.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and there the shove is. So it will be putting them off range 2, which means you could, if you decided to, you could contest the Asajj point, or I'd probably just take the double bodies on the closest point here and double down on that. So who have we got left in the pile? I know that we've gone with Shatterpoint and Asajj and Grievous. So it's just the Magna Guard left
Magna Guards
for
and
Chris.
Kraken, I believe.
Yes,
because Kraken was Shatterpointed.
Yes. Yep.
And then for Theo, we're looking at Rex and Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Which feels
like... Who are you
like...
hoping for?
Out of Theo's next activation?
Chris.
Oh, for
Sorry,
Chris.
For Chris. I probably want the Magna Guard here, just so you can protect Asajj and have a crack at these bounty hunters.
Definitely.
Well, Kraken allows you to do both, actually, so maybe just Kraken.
Yeah, Kraken being able to TACnet and shoot the bounty hunters. There's a chance to just wound them with his shot plus a Magna Guard attack from the tactical network.
Exactly. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Then,
so
take
we
the
have
point.
pulled the Magna Guard. I actually might even be tempted to put them in reserve here just so you can trigger the Kraken. Because if Kraken goes, he can move both of the Magna Guard. One of them goes up to protect Asajj. One of them gets into combat with the bounty hunters. You take the shot and then you follow that up with a tactical network, and that would be really good. But we have decided to go ham into the bounty hunters, which is also a good move. So let's see what we get.
This is going to be a fairly easy wound, I suspect.
Yes. So we're going with the closest Magna Guard here to the camera, and it should be 7 dice thanks to Kalani's innate ability here.
Mm-hmm.
And we are disarmed.
Yes. So that's going to be big, given the Magna Guards have an absurd expertise tree.
Yep. So 3 strikes. So it just will be 1 success going through, which is just 1 shove and a damage, which, given the massive health pool of the bounty hunters, won't be putting the Magna Guards in striking range of these bounty hunters, unfortunately. But we could potentially push these bounty hunters off the point, which I think we've succeeded in doing there.
Yeah,
so
that looks like it's clear.
Yeah, exactly. And it is. So now we can just sort of double down. Hopefully we get 3 successes. Oh, no. Yeah, we can't take that reposition anymore, which is why it's a bit of a shame. Not the tactical network previously, but we've cleared our disarm. We've got 1 hit, 2 crits in, and that's going to be enough to shove some of these bounty hunters off, because it's going to be 2 shoves. So not the biggest wound, but it's putting Kraken in a good range of getting a wound and repositioning the board a little bit. And it has, of course, put Chris in control of this objective.
Yes, definitely. Kraken is going to have a ton of options for that final activation.
So looking at the board state right now, noting that we've got Captain Rex and Darth Vader in the bag, Who do you think advantage struggle is currently? Would you lean towards Theo having some stronger activations in this the end of this struggle, or would you lean towards Chris having a bit more of a grip? I
I
feel like
th-
Vader's just going to come in and stomp on Asajj.
yeah, that's with no Magna Guard next to her.
Mm,
There is nothing stopping Vader from just double advancing and just absolutely smashing her with coordinated fire expose. She only
yeah.
has 7 health left. I believe it's 3 successes on the Dark Fury.
It is, yep. So he gets 5 out of 3 and then adds 2 from Dark Fury. We have pulled Rex, though, which is a bit of a lucky break, I think, for Chris, meaning that we could see the wound from Rex on Asajj, but it will take all of his successes because he maxes out at 7 on 5 successes. But he won't be Vader to come in and stomp. And we've only got 1 force here as well. So who is wounded on, or close to being wounded on Chris's side? Magna Guard are an option, but that's it. So it's just got to be really a Asajj Ventress. Otherwise, we don't spend any force for Rex, which allows Vader to Dark Fury and do his stuff, which puts, I guess, the side in a little bit of a predicament. I think Chris has played relatively cautiously or conservatively, which has made it maybe a little bit harder to get the wounds in for Theo here.
It's interesting. I'm not used to seeing Separatists played in such a cautious manner. The only unit that's really dived has been Grievous, and even then, his aggressive position is due to being pulled by Django.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Usually they go ham, right?
So I'm curious to see how this pans out.
So we've triggered get a move on soldier on Captain Rex on himself, so he will get a move and get a hunker token. And then we are taking a shot into Asajj with Rex. I'm assuming she's getting exposed.
I'd hope so.
Oh, that's rough.
Ooh.
And but it is 1 short.
Yeah, without full tree, it's going to be 1 short.
Oh, but she is pinned already. Oh no, but he only gets the pin on the bottom route.
Yep, bottom tree. Yep.
Yep. So won't be won't be wounded with Asajj.
There's the potential with the double shove reposition, because Rex hasn't made a move action yet. No, he's not in the 5th step, so no reposition.
Yep, no reposition. So it will be a double shove, which won't be enough unless you wanted to do a defensive maneuver to get on the point. But
with
yeah,
the double shove, there's
short.
potential to push her off the point and then double shove defensive maneuver onto it.
It is, yeah, exactly. But then you won't have any force for Darth Vader.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think taking the double shove and just getting her back is a good shout. Leaving the force, in the tank just to make sure that you can Vader's Fury and chase her, because putting a wound on Asajj is a really, really good shout. Makes her ability so much more expensive, and she is the one that wants to be triggering all the force. So I think we are taking the bottom step here.
That looks likely.
Yeah. Yes. So it was 4 successes on the bottom, which is double shove and a pin, and we are getting the 4th damage there because the pin was already applied.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's a good shout. But now, ironically, she's in protection range from the Magna Guard.
Yes. However, Rex is going to be able to walk onto the point.
Yep. And now we've got Kraken to counter. So what do we do with Kraken here? Do we just? I think Kraken just climbs or shoots and then climbs and has a Kraken into Rex, because that allows Kraken to gain protection and steadfast thanks to Conqueror's Protocol, which means Vader essentially can't be rid of him outside of getting pushes.
Mm-hmm. There is also the option of tack netting a Magna Guard onto the point to make it 2-1, and taking it that way.
Possibility. Yep. Yeah,
assuming he's inside range 4, but with the climb onto the top, that should be fairly easy to do.
Well, you don't need you just trigger Do Not Let Them Escape onto both the Magna Guard. You move one into the ladder to go up, and then you move the other to range 2 of Asajj, and then you shoot and then climb.
That'll do it.
Yeah, and that should be a 3-point swing. Probably not a momentum. I don't think Kraken actually does 9 damage on his tree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. So we are
No, but
choosing the B2s.
which will... Oh, they're already wounded.
Already
Interesting.
wounded. Hmm.
I'm... It's still
Going for the
possible to
wound, I
take the
think.
center with
Yeah.
tactical network, but it's a bit... Oh, there's still enough force to pull it off.
Yep. Yep. And
So,
if you do the climb first, you can definitely get in range of the Magna Guard.
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep, Django is wounded, so he's not preventing the climb.
But I think the shoot. So you dash the Magna Guard, you shoot, and then you trigger. Um, then you trigger Tactical Network on the Magna Guard, which further moves them and gets the damage that you need into Captain Rex potentially with that 5 dice. They've got such a good combat tree to trigger off combat Tactical Network. So a little bit of a misplay in my mind, but you can still get the same thing off the B2s, but noting that they have a disarm, they're definitely not going to be getting the output that you'd like, especially Rex will have cover, etc. But we're going to shoot 8 dice into Captain Rex, so let's see what we get. What are you hoping for here? Like you just condition galore, or
If there's the opportunity to go nearly the full tree and put the damage on, there would be the hope for the Magna Guards to clean up and get the wound. But yes, if that's not the option, just throw all the conditions on. You've got pin on... Well, there's only pin on Kraken's Ruthless Logic tree. So it's
yeah.
just pin and an awful lot of shoves.
We are getting a full tree there, though. That was a colossal roll.
Yeah.
So I think it was, let's have a look, it was 4 crits and 4 strikes, so 8, blocking 2, so 6 successes, maxing out at 5. So yeah, I think we probably just go... You don't need to take the free Tactical Network because you've got the force to spend. So yeah, just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage, and then hope for the wound from the Magna Guard dashes or something similar.
I agree. Ooh, I would not have done the shove here.
No, neither would I. But we've gone for it.
Oh well.
And I think we can still do Tactical Network onto the B2s here. But
that is still an option.
It's risky. It's risky. And we're leaving Vader open for taking the point back. The pushing angle will be a little bit difficult with Kraken, just because you've got Django down there and you've got a Sarge down there,
and Steadfast for being on the objective.
Exactly. But I think having a second body on there would be fantastic, and I hope Chris sees that.
Yeah, I would just put the Magna Guard up. I don't think wounding Rex is worth Vader very likely retaking the center.
Exactly.
Because if you can deny that point, that'll be a huge swing. This game has been almost exclusively back. It was 2-2 early on, and then it's been 3-3 ever since that uncontested point was claimed.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're just tuning in, guys, thank you for tuning in. You're watching a round 1 TTS League game between Theo and Chris. Theo on the right, Chris on the left. We're still in struggle 1, so it's been a long struggle. We're about halfway through each player's timer. It looks like we are deciding to go for the wound. So as we see what the B2s do, I'll just say to the chat, if you guys want to support who you think is going to win, or throw your support behind Separatists or a weird eclectic mix between Bounty Hunters and Republic, let us know. And if you want us to focus on anything specific, of course, do so in the chat and let us know. We're fairly interactive here. And joining me in the commentary box is, of course, Oleg. Okay, so we've got a big roll from the B2s. So that's that's exactly what Chris wanted to see. So that will do the job.
Yep. Never punished.
Yeah, never punished for the disarm. But guys, I do think that as Oleg was wisely saying, I think the Tactical Network on the Magna Guard would have been more impactful there. It would have allowed Chris to get another Magna Guard up on this center point alongside Kraken, to prevent the next activation being Vader to just take the center point back. So I think a little bit of a misplay there, but points scored now versus points retained later, and you definitely had the force to play with as well.
Yes, yeah, definitely. 2 force left, final activation.
Yeah.
There was no reason not to spend it.
Do you want to just jump in the chat, into their audio chat, and let them know that they've missed a momentum for Chris?
Yeah, sure.
Because Grievous, so the B2s did wound the Captain Rex there. So, yep. All right, and I'll keep the chat entertained. So we have pulled Darth Vader as the last pull. He's got a few options. Making it over to Ventress will be challenging, I believe, but Kraken is probably the person of choice here. Just giving you guys a bit of a damage update. Grievous is healthy except for a pin. Kraken is completely healthy. The B2's are down, and that is it. Asajj has got 3 health remaining. So you go.
Rex wasn't wounded. 1 damage short. 5, then 3. 8 damage.
5 damage. What? Oh, did we decide not? Did
Free
we just do the tactical network
tactic
for free?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. A very weird choice, because if it was done the other way around, it would have been a wound.
Yeah, okay. Very interesting. Yeah, because, I mean, you had 2 force left, so there's no point in doing tactical network for free. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got an advance here into the center point. We're going to have to spend the last force. It looks like that was the Vader's Fury, and now we're spending just a move action to get into range of Kraken, and we're going to probably take some damage on Vader as well, just to roll extra dice. And I don't think we're in expose range of Kraken as of yet.
No, I don't
so
think
it will
so.
just be natty dice. Yeah. We're swinging the stance over into Dark Rage, and we're hoping for a good lot of shoves, etc. here. And we have taken extra damage. We've taken some damage to roll extra dice.
Oh, that's a monstrous Vader roll.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Oh, it's going to be full tree. 7 hits, 2 crits after expertise.
Yes, so it's 9 blocking 3, so it is a 6 tree. And I think that's exactly enough to wound Kraken, no?
I think it might be 1 short because the protection steadfast. Because Vader does 10 damage at full tree with Fury. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Yep, 10 damage max tree with Fury. Yep.
Okay, so short of wounding, which is actually really good for Theo going into the next struggle, because he'll have that option of pinging Kraken for a force refresh, sort of
8,
at
9.
will,
No,
which is really
it
good.
is 11 damage. I was wrong. I miscounted. It's 11. No.
All right. Well, maybe Theo will stop short here. You never know.
We'll see.
It also opens up the activation prevention from Django. If you stop short and leave him on 1 health or something similar, which is really strong.
Yeah,
so we'll
any
see
opportunity to not so fast someone is potentially game threatening.
It might feel awful, but it's damn good. But I think we are deciding to wound him, gain the force back, and we also get the Cad Bane heal, which will take 1 of the damage off of Vader as well. And we have decided to do that. Yeah. Getting a bit of a dash reposition onto the center point there with Darth Vader, and that will end the struggle. So I guess, yeah, I think a couple of missed opportunities there for Chris. But we'll see
it won't end the struggle.
Sorry, end the deck rotation is what I meant to say.
All good.
So we'll see what the first pull is. It is the Magna Guard. So we've got the opportunity to come back and take the center point. And is that what you would do here, Oleg? You'd sort of get in there and protect Asajj and get Vader off the point?
There are some interesting options here. With the Magna Guards. Yeah, the only target for them in melee is Vader. I guess Bounty Hunters are also there. But heading into the middle, scoring 3, potentially disarming Vader, which is always good. Vader's, he's not particularly good at saving.
No, he's not. No. He's got no crit mitigation, which is the Magna Guard's specialty, on his Dark Rage side especially.
Yep, and he's just got clone saves.
Yeah, exactly.
A true Galactic Republic unit.
Magna Guard might be, yeah. So we're seeing a move up onto the point. It looks like both of them will make it, even though they are engaged with the Magna Guard currently. With the Bounty Hunters.
Yep.
And it won't be any detriment to Chris because he's still retained control of the objective, noting that the bounty hunters are not on the point. Yep, so we're having a crack into Vader, and I think this is a good play, putting some conditions on. What conditions can you put on Vader? It's just a disarm.
Just a disarm. Just shoving Vader back, putting a disarm on, and then the other one can do the damage and then reposition back onto that objective would be, I think, the best possible scenario, because they don't have enough damage to wound him. It's just got too much health.
Yeah, so it is going to be 3 successes because of the expertise tree on the Magna Guard. So we're probably going to try and not shove him too far, which is a little bit awkward.
I think you'd have to forego the shoving if you want the other one to attack.
But that's risky, no?
It is a risk. Also, potential riposte here. Because a failed roll was made. So we'll see if that happens.
Exactly one fail. Yep. Exactly one fail. And I think you do take that. Putting Cad Bane online to just get those wounds in with his ability and refresh a whole bunch of force just feels very strong.
Definitely.
Very, very strong.
4 health left is perfect range for all kinds of characters to come in and finish them off.
Concur. So what do you do here then? Do you just push Vader once, or do you just get him off there now? And just call it a day?
I think I'd just go for the double shove disarm. But it seems like they're not going for the shove and just going for the second attack.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a monstrous roll. Yeah. Full tree on just crits.
4 crits, yeah. Okay. So he got lucky. Well, not lucky. It's probably reliable, but you never want to pray for the dice, right? So it is going to be 7 damage, which is leaving open the wound here. And he's taken it.
Yep.
Okay. So, good, great Magna Guard activation.
Yeah, wounding Vader. Can't complain.
Yeah. No, and the Sith Lord Strikes Back won't actually have an opportunity to work here either, because we'll be pushing a Vader down an elevation, so that's very strong.
It is, given the position of the Magna Guards, possible that Vader could dash back up and hit them, but he is disarmed. So the strength of Vader's 5 dice attack is that a single expertise is giving him 4 damage or 3 in a shove.
Yeah.
And without that, I don't think spending for the Sith Lord Strikes Back is particularly valuable unless the target is on 1 to 2 wounds left.
Well, if the riposte
happened, then only 2 successes would be required to wound the Magnus with the Sith Lord Strikes Back.
Yeah, so a couple of mistriggers there as well, and I wonder if we're going to see the Sith Lord Strikes Back. It will cost a force, but if you do get the wound, then it doesn't
comes right back.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens here. It looks like the force has been spent.
I think that might have been for a post because they just marked the magnet as 6 damage.
Oh, okay, so it was riposte. Yep. So it will cost another force for the Sith Lord Strikes Back, which does mean no, we're not seeing it triggered. Okay.
Yeah, it seems like the first riposte was missed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we will have the Captain Rex going here, so he will come back online if we do decide to go with him. We could probably wound the Magna Guard fairly easily here with only 4 health remaining on them.
Yep,
to take the center point back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just 2 successes on Rex would get through the Magna Guards, and they're well within range for coordinated fire expose.
100%.
Yeah, Theo's done an excellent job with keeping the ARFs away from most potential threats, excluding Grievous. But Grievous has not been particularly relevant to Shatterpoint, so that's kept them nice and safe.
Yeah, and I don't think in this roster, in the roster that Chris has, there's no way of moving Asajj outside of not so fast range either, is there?
No, I think the only option for that is Talzin and Obi-Wan out of hiding. I think are the only 2 characters who can do that. Given her...
Yeah, definitely.
Or Dooku. Dooku's tactic. There we go.
Desert Spiral has a point. There is the option to slip away, but unfortunately she is pinned. So that's the only issue with that. Other than maybe pushing Django out of range with like an early activation. So fingers crossed that Chris remembers that, because that could be absolutely massive in this close to the end of the struggle.
Tom, they're asking if you can jump into their chat for a second.
Yeah, not a problem.
Want me to come along?
Did you want to do it, or yeah, you want to do it?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll do it.
Sure. Otherwise, it'll flip the audio.
No problem.
Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, so I'm not sure what is being checked for here, but Oleg will sort it out. Yeah, so basically, we've gone for Rex. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Yeah, it looks like we're trying to trigger maybe a Rex move, or maybe something got moved accidentally, but we'll see what happens. Okay, guys. Yeah, chat. What do we think? Do we play off the Django not so fast, or do we try and, if you're Chris, mitigate that a little bit? Like, what are we going to try and do? Are we going to try and shove them? We really need to make sure that Django doesn't get the opportunity to get the average roll on a not so fast into Asajj, which would of course wound her, which would be a massive detriment to Chris's game plan, I think, this late in the first struggle, because keep in mind, guys, this is still the first struggle, so it's been an absolutely brutal one. Interestingly, the Separatists are sort of in the damage lead. There is only 1 wound on Kraken and 1 wound on the B2s, but the attrition could start catching up to them. We do have a wound on Vader, a wound on Bane, and a wound on Jango Fett, with the Bounty Hunters and Captain Rex very close to gaining their first wound tokens as well.
Yep. Just to quickly interrupt, Tom, more technical difficulties. The ARFs are unable to be moved at all, so they're asking if you can do a quick save and reload to try and fix that.
If they just want to respawn their ARF troopers, that would work. Just like unlock the card and drop it back in.
Oh, okay. Yep, I'll suggest they do that.
Sorry, guys, we did have a game crash earlier on, which has led to some technical difficulties, like what we're experiencing now, but they should have a resolution fairly quickly. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So slip away. What else? The attrition lead has happened. So we're just respawning these ARF troopers here, guys. So they should be deletable. Hopefully they're interactable. Yeah, they're deletable. There we go. So there goes the first one, and there goes the second one here soon. Okay. So sorry about the technical difficulty here, guys. We're always trying to stay on top of things, but sometimes things get away from us. That one might not be deletable. There we go. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, so we're back on track here. So who do we think has advantage struggle number 1, noting that we're still in here? We are quite far away from a struggle victory for Theo, and we're relatively close for a struggle victory for Chris. But we are probably about to get 3 points and a momentum. So that'll put it back into the first position for Theo, and sort of back exactly where we were. Are you back, Oleg?
Yes, I am back, and the issue has been resolved.
Okay, fantastic. So what's the play here, do you think, with the with Captain Rex? We're going for the Magna Guard? Yep.
Yeah, I'd assume so. That seems like a fairly easy objective to take. 2 successes on 7 dice while the target's exposed. Shouldn't be too hard. Then Rex can just walk up onto the objective and take it for
yeah, exactly.
point.
Yeah. So we've had a question in the chat. Is that a Magna Guard next to Ventress and Django? No, it is Kraken. And then we've got both Magna Guards up here. So do keep in mind, though, given the distance, range 2, this Magna Guard up on top of the building will be giving cover to Ventress. And it is interesting seeing so many characters on the central point, noting that the central point is never active in Struggle 2. So it's
this is going to be interesting. Brutal. But this is the longer the struggle runs, the longer the first struggle runs. Sorry, the more you'll find characters centralized as those 3 center objectives are active.
Yeah,
and so correct. That can cause problems in the beginning of the second struggle if you're hyper focused on winning the first without taking into account the lack of a center point.
100%, yeah. And Desert Spiral, we've actually just had the first card flip for the Separatists, so it's the Magna Guards, with the only thing revealed so far in this deck rotation. So everything except the Magna Guard are in the pile. And now we're seeing an exposed Magna Guard getting shot by Captain Rex.
So yeah, that's
So
going to be
even
4
without the
hits into.
expose, yeah, even without the expose, it would have been a wounded Magna Guard. So, yeah, doesn't it's not the worst expose result in the world.
Definitely. So
Yeah,
that's going to get
and
the
that will
wound, get the
be,
refresh.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And I guess even if Rex didn't do it, then Cad could have spent 2 for his ability as well. Oh, but he's engaged, so no, he could not.
No. Yep.
No, he could
Yeah,
not.
poor Cad has been shut down for the vast majority of this game.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly how you have to play into Cad, right? Like you just
Definitely. You
really need to
engage
keep
him
him
as soon as
engaged.
possible.
Yeah,
And your job as the CAD player is to keep him out of engagement for as long as possible.
absolutely, absolutely.
It's,
So if you've just joined the chat, we've got a few new viewers. We're still in struggle number 1. We just had Theo's activation with Captain Rex wounding the Magna Guard, and now we're flipping into Kalani with Chris here. So I hope we. Yeah, so the big issue that we're seeing now is that we've got a 6 health Asajj Ventress with a pin right next to Django Fett. So we're hoping that Chris has seen the not so fast play, and that some attacks will go into Django to clear him out of range 3. That is essentially the predicament that the Separatist player is in at the moment. And how we get around that. So we've got a suggestion in the chat. Kraken, if he activates, could recover the pin off of Ventress and then punch Django. That is absolutely what we could do.
yeah, there are a number of options. We could see heal from Kalani, heal from Kraken, or just attempting to displace Django with the shoves on the super tacticals.
Yeah, I think that's probably the largest problem that Chris has at the moment. Would you agree?
Yes, because if Ventress loses her activation, then or just any activation skip at this fragile state of the game, as soon as because we've been scoring equally 3-3 for the last 5 or 6 activations, if not more. And as soon as that's disrupted, one player is going to pull ahead, and I think that'll be enough to win the first struggle.
Yeah, correct. All right, and so we have got a full tree from Kalani here. So hopefully we see some Magna Guards, even Magna Guards coming down. They could take the ingress point. They could engage Django with Tactical Network, and they could have a punch into Django. We could also, of course, just see Kraken punch into Django as well, because Tactical Network just means a battle droid, and Kraken is, of course, a battle droid. So we'll see what we decide to do. That will be a wounded Rex, which will flip the center point into Chris's favor, which will be a 3-point swing. Yeah, and we could also just hope, of course, that Django just doesn't roll enough to wound Ventress there, which is,
That is a possibility.
I'd rather be lucky than good, right?
It's riding the average is always a risk, but it happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes Django
We
rolls
have seen
1.
the tactical network trigger on the B2 battle droids, and we will see an attack probably going to go into the ARF troopers.
Yeah, that seems like a safe bet given Vader is already wounded and Rex.
Yeah, and putting some damage on the ARF troopers is never a bad idea.
No, definitely not. Do the B2s have an early strain? No, they don't have a strain at all.
No, they've got nothing. They're just wounded.
Yeah. Oh well, this is still going to be a decent shot.
Yeah. And that's pretty good. So it's going to be 2 successes. Oh, sorry, they hadn't rolled yet. All right.
Yep. I assume it'll be 2 successes.
3 successes. Very
wow.
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So what can we do with 3 successes? I've never seen a B2 go that deep before. So just 4 damage probably and 2 shoves.
4 damage and 2 shoves, or are we looking at 4 damage and a reposition? I assume we'll take the shoves here.
I think so. I mean, we are wounded.
Oh, if they weren't wounded, knocking the front one out of range of the objective would have flipped it 2 for a 4-point swing.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. We are seeing a momentum gained here after this is all resolved, which will put Chris on the 4, which will put Chris on the 2. So 2 away for Chris after this play.
Yeah, the momentum is starting to build up, so we're going to see the struggle just won by momentum eventually, assuming no one gets a 4-point swing.
Exactly. I wonder how quickly struggle 2 and 3 are going to go here. Noting that there's such a cluster of characters in the center. I mean, looks like the only player with a single character on a back point is Theo at this point. There's no one else contesting rear point objectives due to the B2s here being wounded.
Wounded, yeah. It's just the ARF sitting at the back. So my experience tends to be that the longer the first struggle, the shorter the second and third. But given how central everything is, I can see it being at least a slow to start second struggle.
Yeah, completely concur. All right, so we're going with the bounty hunters here. Looks like we're going to try and stay out of engagement range with Asajj, and that's an easy middle pickup point for a 3-point swing. We could also actually just gain 4 here for Theo as well, noting that the Magna Guard in the center are wounded. So they could use on the trail to potentially go up the ingress point.
Yeah, 1 pointing towards Asajj, 1 walking onto that objective would just by virtue of positioning take 2 objectives.
Yeah, exactly. And that would be a 4-point swing. So we could actually see a 5-point, sort of a 5-point in quotation marks there with a momentum token if they decided to wound Asajj. But do you run the risk of maybe
losing the not so fast
for the activation skip? Yeah, like what do you do here? Like what if you were?
I think I'd take the first shot because you can always end the tree early. And you have to take at least 1 success. If you attack, you must do the first step. But even with the expertise for the damage, that would allow you to do 2 damage with the top and a shove, leaving her on 1 wound remaining, which would make the not so fast almost guaranteed. And then you fire the second shot somewhere else.
Yeah. You could fire the second shot into a Magna Guard, for example, for a push and then a move.
Yep, or Kraken or Kalani. Oh, going for 4 points that way. Interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. I completely skipped that there was a point down there. So yeah, that's a good play.
Yeah, and a great setup for next struggle, taking your opponent's home objective.
Exactly, and of course we are seeing Theo starting maybe to consciously abandon the center point there. There's no point in taking the center point because it's not active in the second struggle. So we've got a commenter in the chat. Round 2 is probably dependent on what's not wounded, which isn't much by the looks of it. So Chris is definitely in the attrition lead at this state. We've got Vader. In fact, the only ones without a wounded token at this stage are the ARF troopers and the bounty hunters, but both are quite close to being wounded. But on Chris's side, we've only got wound tokens on the B2s and on Kraken, but probably Asajj now as well.
B2, Kraken, and the Magna Guards.
Oh, sorry, and the Magna Guards, yeah.
But yes, both primaries are still up, though Ventress might not be for much longer. But Grievous on full health, assuming he's able to clear that pin in time, is going to be a problem with him that deep in Theo's backline. Or even just 100%. Where he is position-wise.
Yeah. So here, guys, we should have rolled... Well, I guess it's not a must, but we should have rolled an extra dice on, I think, Asajj Ventress because of the cover 2 from the Magna Guard. And there's always the option to be in the extra... in the reverse form here for Asajj's better expertise side, but we didn't get a flip last turn, unfortunately. Okay. So I'm not sure who we're targeting there, unfortunately.
There was a ping on Kalani, so I think that might be the case.
Okay, that makes sense. Yep, so let's just have a look at Kalani. Yeah, so there was 7 damage done and a pin to Kalani, which makes sense. And then I think what we had just then
was the force for the tools of the trade on to Ventress.
Yeah.
The
which is
disarm.
really good, and putting a disarm. Yep, that's very nice.
Yeah, excellent play. Love tool from the trade. Just
Yeah, that disarm on demand is very strong, especially against characters like Ventress and Vader with fantastic expertise trees.
mhm. Yeah, the more powerful
All right,
the stance card, typically the more valuable that ability is to put out. And the fact it's
we
no range requirement, no line of sight um no attack requirement, no line of sight
yeah,
requirement.
yeah. Unfortunately, we have pulled Ventress, which is the danger zone here. So we are probably going to be spending for not so fast on Django.
Assuming she doesn't go into
Um,
reserve,
yeah, and
because the
I
reserve
probably
slot
would
is
be
open.
putting in her reserve.
Yes, I think the risk is too great. She's pinned, disarmed, and has a solid chance of just skipping an activation here.
Exactly, but we are triggering not so fast on Django, and this is a big roll.
Yep.
This is a big roll. 3 successes needed,
Oh, yep.
and 3
4.
successes obtained. Yep.
There we
Okay.
go.
And that is probably going to be the struggle decided for Theo here. So we've had an activation skip. We're going to get a momentum. All the force is going to come back.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. So that does feel bad. That does feel bad, but there were multiple instances of Chris being able to avoid that through tactical networks and activation order, I think. So maybe in hindsight, some tactical shifting the goals would have mitigated that instance. Would you agree, Oleg? It feels maybe worse than it
Yes,
is.
that was a very mitigatable, not so fast. It was set up. Like, Django has been in that position for 3/4 of the game at this point, and
Mm,
Asajj, there's been multiple opportunities to heal her or displace Django. So yeah, I think it was a very avoidable, not so fast.
mm. Mm. So we have pulled Cad Bane for Theo here, and we are probably going to go with him. Um, so noting that the center is never active, where are you going to put Cad Bane?
Theo is with 3 points already under his control. He's going to win this struggle
Yep,
no matter what. So my play with Cad would be to back off to one of his 2 rear points and then shoot at Grievous, hoping for more conditions. I
yep,
believe, is it this
nice.
stance? Or is it the other stance?
The other
Uh,
stance has more conditions, I believe.
yeah, it has the disarm on step 2. That's what I was thinking about. Grievous is already pinned. Tossing a second condition, in this case a disarm, would be huge because with a single recover, Grievous can unlock his movement or by using Scuttle. Um, Whereas if you've put 2 conditions on him, he's got to pick: does he want to move or does he want to hit hard?
Hmm.
Taking the
Yep.
center here is an odd choice,
Hmm.
unless the aim is to get a jump from the tree.
Looks like we're jumping now.
Hmm.
We've just spent 2 force.
Could this be an attempt to reach a back objective of Chris's? That's also not a
I think
terrible
so.
idea.
No. So let's just zoom in on the characters we've got down here. We've got Kalani
Hmm.
down here. So we could jump over Kalani potentially, or shoot her now. Hope for some good jumps or good successes. Oh, we're
Hmm.
triggering. How about you step aside? Okay, interesting.
That's very interesting. I would just walk back onto that rear objective. That seems like pure upside to me.
Yep.
But that looks
It has
like
to be a way.
yeah, but it can end on a different objective. There's nothing stopping
Yeah.
you from walking onto a different objective, and it only cares about active objectives as well.
Yeah, correct. So we could have just ended up on the same objective. Oh, sorry, on this objective here, guys, and that would have been putting Chris in a good position for the next struggle, or at least have a body on an active objective there. Um, we haven't had a great roll from Cad, only 2 successes. So 2 successes. Is that going to be 3 damage? I think it is. So it is going to be the wound. Yeah, it will be the wound and get a jump as well. So we could end up on a rear objective here, and then we've still got sort of some force abilities to trigger as well.
And the 2 force refresh is going to be nice. It's going to refund the how about you step aside.
Yep, or the potential jump here as well.
Yes.
Interesting that we are looking at the moment, or we were looking at doing a jump into combat there, but we're just going to jump down unengaged in front of this middle objective, which isn't bad considering the fact that Cad Bane can still trigger his jump to take the center point or the rear point here as well on his no one gets between me and my job.
I just don't see the point in taking the center objective.
Yeah,
Scoring 5
it's
versus
never
scoring
active.
4 here is excessive. Ooh,
Okay.
that's the...
We are going to need a new exit. Is the struggle flipped? Let me just update the scoreboard here. Oleg, how are you going to come back from this as Chris?
Well, we're going to need a new exit. Is probably the easiest mission to come back on, given it'll give you... Yeah, and Chris has gone for it right away. No hard decision making here. So it gives you the potential of either player gets the 2 back objectives on their side, with 1 all the way for their opponent's central side, which means you have a 2/3 chance of the priority being in your back line.
The only
So
problem being this little
yeah,
bounty hunter
Hunter's sitting
over
right on
here.
top of it. Not optimal,
Yeah.
but also all of the characters in the center for the Separatists are all in that back quadrant. Ventress, Kraken, Kalani, even the Magnus are fairly close to it.
Mm.
So it shouldn't be too hard to collapse backwards onto that back point, especially with the bounty hunters having only 4 health left.
Yeah.
That
No,
being
I
said,
completely agree.
Chris will be controlling no points until the B2s come back. But it looks
Yeah.
like we got Grievous.
We did. So who do you go for with Grievous? Are you going to try and get a wound and also um, uh, get the priority objective, or are you just sort of are you
I
going to
think...
shoot? Maybe I feel like the easy kill would be the ARFs.
Oh yeah, I would definitely attack the ARFs, and get onto the priority, given that no other Separatist units are in range of an objective. The priority is the
Mm.
only way to have a decent scoring lead at the start of this struggle here for Chris.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
not sure if I agree with the onwards from the Magna onto the Magna Guards to go forwards here.
What
Um,
would you decide instead? Do you think?
I'd be tempted to send Magna Guards backwards or a super attack backwards, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, um, there's already every other unit for Chris is on the center line or behind it on his side of the table. So that's another 6 units that can go back to defend his 2 rear points. So sending 1
Yep.
forward isn't a terrible plan. Just it's a
Yeah.
wounded
Correct.
Magna Guard. It's the value is purely going to be an appetite for destruction and being yeah, because it'll be out of range for all the super tacticals.
Yep.
Oh, something's happening with Grievous's card.
Yeah, we're just trying to clear the pin, but we'll just have to, I guess, remember that Grievous is not pinned anymore. Um, now they've deleted the card. You can get it out of the bag.
Yes.
There it is. Okay, cool. All right, they got it back. They don't need to worry about the pin. But yeah, anyway, they've spent the force for Scuttle,
Yep.
which has, of course, cleared the pin, and then he gets an action or 2 actions as normal. Yep. Sometimes, guys, the technology can fail us, unfortunately. So we are doing a move to get into engagement range with these ARF troopers. Probably could go a little bit further back just to get sort of as close to the ARF troopers, so to the objective as possible. We are spending a force there for protection protocols after Grievous has moved as well. And we are going to have a crack into the ARF troopers. This is, I mean, there's probably... What stance do you prefer on Grievous here, Oleg? Do you like his more tanky quad arm side, or do you like the extra dice?
I typically prefer the defense dice on quad arm attack. It's your basic Beskar save. It's nothing fancy, but 1 for 1 up to 2+ is decent saves.
Yeah.
And
I
you're
guess the
really
only difference here would be that noting that the ARF troopers are right there, sometimes having the extra dice after you get exposed is better, right?
definitely. Oh yeah, against an exposed attack, the greater dice on Cunning Warlord would definitely be the pick.
Yep.
Given the fact that they're on 3 health left before the attack. It's 2 successes regardless of stance. So Cunning Warlord is definitely a good pick.
Yep, definitely. Definitely. Okay, so we've got 2 points here and a momentum scored for Chris. We will get an Appetite for Destruction trigger if you want, but there's probably no real point to doing that. And yeah, the mod is just having a bit of trouble here, it seems. Just copy paste them. There we go. Okay. Yep. So 2 points and a momentum scored for Chris. All right, and let's see who we get picked for Theo. It is the Half Troopers. Do you put them in reserve? You love a good reserved Half Trooper, don't you, Oleg?
Yeah, I think there's a strong argument that you can reserve ARFs over primaries in a lot of Republic lists. In this situation, given the fact that Theo, well, after I think I did see priority first, because Grievous
Yeah,
on
I haven't
full
got that yet.
health, there's nothing that easily deals with that. I guess Vader could knock him sideways with with easy shoves via Dark Rage. It seems like it's back there. Oh no, they're rolling for it now. Yep, it's still up there at the top. ARFs can just retake the objective. That is definitely an option.
Yep,
But
100%.
bringing them back up is a risk.
It is, because then Grievous can Shatterpoint and just do it again.
It looks like
Oleg,
they're
if you don't
getting.
mind, just jump in the chat
Mhm.
for those guys and just remind Chris that he has to spend 1 force for protection protocols
Yep.
because of the move and the wound. Yep, cheers. Yeah, so I agree with what Alex just said. I think having the ARF troopers just wake up and take the point back is not a bad shout. The other alternative is potentially having them take this point over here and waiting a little bit longer to sort of take this priority objective. But yeah, I feel like taking the priority is just better. You could maybe try for some shoves on to Grievous. If you get lucky, you can shove him off the objective and take it with 1 ARF trooper, considering the Magna Guard are wounded, which is a play, but it is risky, especially given the fact that Grievous has cover. You won't be exposed this time. You're really relying on natural crits being rolled, so that's not fantastic. So we're spending a. Ooh, maybe we're just measuring. Oh, thanks so much, Cam Damage, for the Prime subscription. Very much appreciated. Okay, so it looks like we're deciding maybe to reserve the ARF troopers here. Oh, like what would you do? We were just discussing maybe trying to get lucky to get the shove on the ARF troopers into Grievous and capture all the points, really. We could send 1 ARF trooper up to the top left where the B2s are. If you get 1 shove on Grievous, then you take the priority objective as well.
There is always the extra ballsy play of moving into melee and taking the 2 damage on the melee attack to make it an 8 dice melee into Grievous. I'm not sure how good that is, but that is also an option.
It is. Yeah, I mean, look, you don't get the cover in melee.
Exactly.
So
You deny an entire defense dice, given you're losing expose. That might be big. My gut feeling is it feels like reserve, and then Rex, Vader, Shatterpoint, or even potentially the bounty hunters can go take that objective.
Yeah, looks like we've decided to try and pivot away from Grievous here. So that was a defensive maneuver spent on the ARF troopers.
Looks
like we're taking the long way
it.
round. Yeah, so I think we are going here for the double objective play. So we're trying to get 2 successes onto Grievous for the shove, which will take him off the objective, and of course move this ARF trooper in the center right next to Darth Vader up to take the B2 objective. So I think that is a good play, but it just relies heavily on some dice results. Oh no, we're pivoting away from that. Jeez, we took a real long way around there. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that defensive maneuver could have been done a bit cleaner. Either way, same rough objective.
Yeah, same result. Exactly. And we've got the 2 bodies on the objective now as well. So either way, it is going to be taken off Grievous. But
it is the safer play.
Yeah. You could have also just done the shot first and like just seeing how the cookie crumbles. I
Yeah,
think I probably would have preferred that.
that would have been how I would have done it.
Because the objective is to score 4. No, that's the name of the
Yep.
game. So we're shooting the first ARF trooper into Grievous. Let's see what we get.
I think they've forgotten the cover. No, cover has been remembered.
Okay,
But
so
that'll
it's
get
not a
the 2
fantastic
crits.
roll. Yeah, but it will be 2 crits. Not a fantastic roll on either side, I guess. So 2 crits go through, and that's the push that you needed, which could have allowed you. I know you're heavily relying on dice, and we don't like to do that, but that could have allowed you to take all 4 objectives here. And just for anyone that's joined the stream, we do have a bounty hunter in the back left here as well that is alive and on top of one of the active objectives for Theo. So this bounty hunter's snuck onto the back left, onto Chris's deployment zone there, and taken a cheeky objective as well. So do you continue the pursuit of Grievous here with the other ARF trooper, or are you going to try and choose another target, Oleg?
I think given the position of the ARF troopers now, I'd go for Grievous.
Yep.
He's pinned, he's now exposed by that attack. Or that is a monstrous roll on the ARF.
Wow, ARF troopers, gee whiz.
Sometimes
7
clones just roll clip crits. This might wound him. No. I don't think yes, it can. Full tree with the pin would do it.
That's savage.
Yep, which it looks like it will.
Wow, okay.
Clone firepower.
Okay, the ARF troopers just sometimes go off.
I mean, if you roll 7 hits, you're going to get your tree completed.
Even a 501st could do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it will be a momentum. It will be 3 points altogether, and it will be some force refresh thanks to Cad Bane as well.
The CAD identity is doing work for Theo at the moment.
It is absolutely. Do you want to just jump in and remind them that they have missed a momentum?
Yes.
Sorry.
All good. No.
Okay, so just while Oleg does that, guys, we are in struggle number 2 at the moment. This is the scoreboard currently. That was Theo's activation, we are just about to activate the B2s unless Chris decides to put them into reserve. So we'll see how that goes. All right, thanks for that, Oleg. So we've pulled the B2s.
It's not lethal damage because the dash on Grievous's expertise on the first attack cleared the pin.
Oh, got rid of the pin. Very nice. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so
were 1 damage short.
Okay, fantastic. Cheeky little dash there.
Yeah, Cunning Warlord paid off.
Yeah. So it looks like the priority is Chris's back left objective up on the B2 side, and we are moving into place there with the B2s. We have woken them up. Do you think here you decide to engage Cad Bane?
That's probably not a bad idea, given the bounty hunters are beyond reach. I would be pretty partial to double shoot Cad. Oh no, Cad's injured now. Yeah, double shoot Cad. Yep. 1 B2 moves into engagement with him, and that would put him back.
That would really limit him.
Yep,
100%. And that's a great B2 roll as well. So 2 expertise. I think it's going to be 3 blocks for Cad, and a good amount of damage. We can do the catch up. I'll see what this dice result is first.
Ooh, that's a great roll again. This is going to give Cad a jump, though. But 2 blocks, a heal and a jump. It might wound him.
2 blocks, a heal and a jump.
Versus 4. So 2 successes, 2 damage. 5 damage. It might be enough. Ooh, just short.
1 short. Yeah.
That seems to be the name of the game. Everything's 1 short.
Just short. Yeah, and then we will get a jump with Cad Bane as well, which will allow him to maneuver away. And that'll also allow him to body block the ingress point for the B2s, so they won't be able to engage him.
Can he sit in... Oh, yeah, he should be able to sit outside of the Magna range as well.
Exactly, yeah. So I wonder I feel like maybe you just don't shoot Cad in that instance. You could put some conditions on. Oh, I mean, it's such a good shot though. Like, there's no other real good target.
Hmm. Yeah, everything on that side is either wounded or only just reactivated and became injured.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so it will be 2 points for Chris, and we will see how the next roll goes. We've pulled Darth Vader. Okay, we will have to roll the priority objective though.
Yeah, I think things have been a bit hasty.
Yeah. The fail. Okay. The
Just the
fail is the bounty hunter objective. So Vader does have the opportunity to score 4 here
yeah.
by attacking the bottom bounty hunter.
hmm
Sorry, bottom B2.
B2. Yep.
Yep.
That seems like a fairly safe play, especially with Cat up there ready to just do 2 damage in case somehow Vader fails to get the wound.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's exactly the place that you don't want Cad Bane to be in, right? In that unengaged range for threat zone. So yeah, that's a fantastic play. And do you just settle for this bottom B2 here and get some shoves and dashes and end up on the top anyway?
Yeah,
You don't
that's what
really
I do,
mind?
because with all the shoves in Dark Rage, it's very likely he's going to end up in range of the objective, even if he doesn't get on
Yeah,
top of it.
exactly. Absolutely. Sorry, I just probably preemptively moved to the dice tray. Oh, yep, and now they're rolling. So this is a big roll from Vader. He has taken 2 extra damage to have a crack. And we've blocked 1 and haven't had a massive roll there.
4 expertise should still do it, though.
Yeah,
So that's
true. And then
2 crits, a hit, and a damage.
Yep, 2 crits, a hit, and a damage. Yeah, that's more than enough. Will it be necessary for Cad Bane to jump in?
Potentially. Because it's what we're getting 1 block versus 4 hits and 2 crits. So we're looking at it's full tree. They're wounded. There's no need for Cad to
Okay,
follow up.
no need for Cad. Yeah, very nice. All right, so let's have a look at the tree there. Yeah, so it's not the climb tree, which
No,
is
that's
4 and 5 gem so.
Yep.
Yep.
There's options for double shove, then dash, which will clearly put Vader within 2 at the bottom there.
Yeah,
And I think
definitely.
that
There's also the option to dash. You can use your dash, both dashes on your tree to get to the ladder on this side as well.
there's only
To get the
1
climb.
dash on the Dark Rage. It's the end.
Okay, my bad. Yep.
All good.
Still measuring for it, but yeah, won't be able to get there. And I think, just being at range 2 of the back objective is a lot better.
He seems to be going sideways. Did he have an action left? Potentially.
Oh, of course, he just did the Vader's Fury.
Fury.
Yep. Even better. So Darth Vader's snuck over here, guys, and he's about to do his last action, probably to climb up on this ingress point. Yes, there it is.
Yep.
Oh, he's just going to climb. Even better. Yep. And he scores 4 and a momentum, and that's going to put Chris dangerously close to an irretrievable position here, I would say. But it does depend on where the priority rolls.
Fail. So it'll
Got
stay
the
on those
same-
hunters. That's probably the best he could have gotten. Because the Vader
For
on
Chris,
10
yeah.
health is a lot of...
Yeah,
It's just a lot of health to get through.
absolutely. And we do have the Kraken here. So how are we going to make this? There's nothing that we can really do for the supporting units. Kraken can dash himself. He could dash Kalani, but everyone else is wounded, no?
Yeah, it's everyone except himself and Grievous are wounded.
Yeah. Yeah, so the attrition really took off there, unfortunately. There was a slight attrition lead for Chris in the early game, but in the end, it sort of flipped.
Once Vader started chopping.
Yes, exactly.
Because he's been the only unit that's consistently picked up a unit every single activation.
Yeah, so there were a few moments that we could have slowed down Vader's influence there. We could have, remember back in Struggle 1, we could have taken the center point with the Magna Guards off of a tactical network from Kraken.
And protected Asajj.
And protected Asajj, yep, exactly. Okay, and we're having a crack into the bounty hunters from Kraken. A crack with Kraken. So let's have a look at what we roll. 8 dice thanks to Kalani, I think, because of surrounding droids. Probably more than
Droids
enough
everywhere.
to wound the bounty hunters, yeah. So we've had a really good roll there with Kraken. And the bounty hunters only have 4 wounds, 4 health remaining, I should say, which should be enough to get the wound there and end up on the point. Yeah.
I wonder, without being able to take 2 points, is it enough?
So that'll be, yeah, it'll put Theo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away. So there's no chance for Theo to win it on the next struggle unless he gets 2 wounds, which isn't possible at this stage, is it? Because we could get Grievous and maybe Kraken, but that's a tall order.
It is a very tall order. Grievous, 1 wound, anything will pick him up.
Yeah.
But getting Kraken on an objective is going to be very hard.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And we're just having a look at the objective roll now. Oh, we're doing a tactical.
This might be a wounded CAD with a Magna Guard.
Yeah, into CAD.
That should get him 2 crits going through.
Yeah, great. Okay, so we've dashed the Magna Guard up with Tactical Network, and that's a great play. Don't push him. Keep him engaged. Keep him wounded. Make his abilities even more expensive.
The other option is shove him into the B2s down there. That also works.
Yeah.
Which seems to be what's happening.
Yeah, and I think that's probably better.
Yes.
So the Dark Angel, after his game yesterday, he's a CAD convert. Yeah, there's a lot of CAD love, I've noticed. Are you a big fan of CAD, Oleg?
I really like him conceptually. I've yet to find a list that I love him in. He definitely gives the Republic tools it doesn't have access to without him, or at least not easily, in the Force refreshes, which I really like. Pairing CAD with a Republic 7 or 6 point primary, so Anakin, Mace, Vader, for the 6 Force pool and refreshes, quite strong. Getting back, especially with the ARF, letting you expose things to get those more consistent wounds. It feels strong. I just don't know if you give up too much by taking CAD, in terms of losing out on other powerful Republic primaries with synergy. So it's definitely a powerful, interesting choice. I'm just not sure if I like it, if that makes sense. But I would definitely not. It's definitely a good option.
Yeah, it's really nice to. I think once a few more releases come out with some more synergistic 5-point secondaries with CAD, or if someone just unlocks the power of Aura Sing, if there is power there, then CAD becomes a very, very appealing option as well.
And we know that Hondo is coming soon-ish with tag synergy with the CAD box.
That's what we've heard, right? Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you watched the recent the JodoCast interview with a few AMG developers, and they were developed in parallel, and they were meant to come out together.
Oh, okay. I did not watch that. That's cool. That's very cool.
So hopefully that'll be an interesting, like an all scoundrel list, because I think that was the keyword that ties them all together.
Yeah. All right, so we've got the Shatterpoint here, and it looks like we're measuring for the bounty hunters, actually. So that'll be able to get all 4 points back onto Theo's side, which will put him 2 away from the W. And I think that's a good use of the Shatterpoint here. You could potentially get some nice damage and conditions and shoves into Kraken. Yeah, not a bad play at all.
I agree. And their melee is pretty solid. It's not going to wound Kraken from full, but it's going to do a bit of damage. Potentially. Oh no, they don't have a second shove, do they? He's got protection. They do. They do at step 4 on their chart.
Oh, that's right. Which is basically they don't.
Yeah,
but yeah,
if they both pull it off, you could knock Kraken entirely off the objective. So yeah, that's not happening.
No, but they've basically doubled him out there, so he won't be able to get it back. Yeah. Okay. All right, so we'll probably just roll some dice into Kraken here. We are going to try and potentially get the other shove if he does double him up off the point here, which isn't bad.
Hmm.
And we're just doing some melee into Kraken.
Hmm. And notably, his melee is weaker. That is too many dice on the bounty hunters.
No, they've taken 2 damage to roll some extra.
On the bounty hunters?
Yeah.
I can't see damage marked on the bounty hunters, so
Oh, sorry, I was looking at Vader. Okay.
I don't know how they're rolling
Yeah,
7.
that's
Do you want me to jump in and
yeah.
talk to them?
Oh, they focused. They focused.
Ah, cool. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Ah,
because they
yes,
just did
free
the on the
dash. Yep,
trail. Yeah, free
yep.
dash. The
Yep.
strongest of the bounties. Oh, that's a great roll from Kraken. Yeah. Okay. So not much damage going into Kraken at all. He's a very tanky boy, especially when he's on an objective. So both attacks only doing 4 damage to him total, and no shoves, of course, because they didn't get deep enough in their tree. But they are going to take the objective off Kraken thanks to the double bodies, and we'll see how Chris does respond. So it's staying on the Arf Trooper point, and we'll see what we draw. Looks like a Shatterpoint card.
Yes,
Yep.
we've got Shatterpoint for
So
Chris.
So
Oh,
Shatterpoint is good with Asajj. This is exactly where she sort of wants to be, right? She can wake up. She can. Oh no, she won't be able to because
no.
she's wounded.
Yeah, she flips to
Doesn't have enough
injured,
force.
and then she can't make it because if she jumps, she can't push without going 4 steps down the tree.
Yeah, yeah. So you have to go Gravis then with the
Hmm.
Shatterpoint. He
Yep.
has to scuttle, move. Yep.
Yep. Scuttle, move, go for arfs, but that only scores 2 points. I'm not sure that's enough to keep Chris in the game.
Yeah, concur. Yeah,
There's
because
just
then
everything else is
yeah,
wounded except Kraken. Yep. So
yeah,
and there's nothing in
yeah.
range he can move with Grievous's various abilities to get back on the other
Exactly. Yeah.
points. Yeah, I
And they
think
only need 1 damage on Grievous as well. I mean, he will heal 2 after wounding the Arf Troopers.
yes. Probably heal 1, clear the expose is how I assume it'll go.
Yeah, because he will get the cover from the Magna Guard right next to him. So he'll have to
Yes.
scuttle, clear the pin, do a move, do an attack, probably in quad arm. Yeah, there it is. Thank you very much, Dark Angel, for the follow. Very much appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the content. So there's the scuttle clearing the pin, and then we've just got a move action coming in with Grievous to get into combat range. I did see in the corner there he has flipped from Cunning Warlord into quad arm attack, and we're probably going to mince up these Arf Troopers quite
Yeah.
nicely.
2 successes. Oh, 2 successes. 3 successes for 7. Can't get better than that for killing clones.
No,
So this should
we say
be.
that until
Yeah, it blanks. Ooh,
Ooh,
that's not great. Is
no.
2. I think it's not enough. No, it's not
No, I
enough.
don't think it is. We do get Appetite for Destruction though, so
True. There's.
that's
Yeah, the Magna Guards should
silver
finish it
linings.
off.
Yeah. But it won't allow Grievous to heal 2 and heal some damage, which will make him a little bit more of a juicier target there. But hopefully we remember the Appetite and we get the Magna Guard
Looks
coming in
like
and finishing these.
looks like Appetite was forgotten because they've just
Okay.
Theo has just flipped for Django,
Oh, okay.
which
Yeah,
means that the Chris didn't score
that's
that
the
back
game.
point. So yeah, that's game.
Yeah.
Django just
So a couple
shoots.
of a couple of missed triggers there from both players. I think we had a couple of missed opportunities for Tactical Network and things like that.
Mm, a lot of tactical movement abilities were missed early on as well.
Yeah, yeah, and hopefully this is a great learning experience for both players, just to check some of their or fine tune some of their gameplay options,
Definitely.
and become a little bit more conscious about Django.
Oh yeah,
He's
what
the
you
bad
get not
boy.
so fasted the first time, you never forget.
Yeah, correct. So we're rolling the. Looks like we're allowing the trigger to happen here with the Magna Guard. So it's going to be basically enough damage going through to wound the Arf Troopers and get them off that point, which will put that point in control of Grievous.
Yep. So Chris will get the 1, 2 momentum for not pulling it back far enough.
Yep. and the 2 points as well. So what did we flip? Did it remain on?
I'm not sure. I didn't see it. So I wonder if they're
Yeah,
going to
basically
re-roll.
Django needs to wound Grievous for the game win, no
Yes.
matter where it is. Yeah. So we've got a jump coming in.
Given they haven't changed its position, I think it's a safe assumption to. Um, yeah, it seems
You
to have
never
stayed
know.
there.
Django could flub.
This is
Django could
true.
flub hard.
Into an exposed target. Actually, oh no,
Yeah.
she doesn't. I was going to say coordinated fire exposed would auto kill. Now they're rolling
Yeah.
priority.
Yeah. So
It
it still is. Yeah. So the game state hasn't changed, which is good.
it's still that back point. For being a
Yeah.
1/3 chance, it seemed to always be the priority.
I don't think it's shifted for 3 or 4 turns. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the Kraken
Oh.
turn. It was back here with Kraken, and that I think was it.
Looks like we're actually going to try and melee Grievous
Style points.
for the style points. Yeah. Take some damage with Vader. Roll some extra dice in there. See what
hmm
happens.
Yeah, making it a 9 dice attack turns it from pretty average 6 to 9. You go from pretty average melee to pretty fantastic melee.
Yeah. I mean, his expertise tree is not fantastic in melee,
Yeah,
but
9 dice
yeah,
tend
he's
to
gone
get
for the
around a
style
lot of
points.
problems.
Oh, I say that, but he's rolled absolute fire on Django. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and that will be the W, guys. So, yep, that will be the momentum. I'll update the struggle tracker here, just for those who tune in at the very end. So it's a 2 struggle win to Theo in the first round of the TTS League. So well played to both players. I think some good opportunities to do some reviews and fine tune some tactics, or some triggers, I should say, not tactics.
Definitely.
And yeah, hopefully that's a good learning experience. What did you take away from that game, Oleg? Anything you want to go home and try out now?
I am curious to see this. It didn't pan out for Chris in the end, but this much more cautious approach to separatist early gameplay. I've never seen anyone play it so passively, um, which is not a bad thing at all. Because it seemed to it kept Grievous at bay. CAD was fairly limited in options. The only thing that went fairly deep early was Django, and
Mm.
Django got punished for it.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
Well, I'll probably have to put Cad Bane on the table. There's a lot of Cad Bane love out there. Um, and yeah, that might be my next point of testing. I would love to put Asajj on the table myself. It seems like she's had a hard drop off recently, for better or for worse. So I'm really excited to give her a little bit of a tinkle.
Oh yeah, I would definitely love to revisit Asajj. She's a really interesting primary. I think probably the hardest to play we've seen so far. She's
Mm.
got so many different decision points in both your activation and your opponent's, alongside just a really interesting combat tree that incentivizes finishing targets but not brawling. So she's really
Yep.
got to pick her battles. But when she picks the correct target, you get all the value. So really fitting the moniker of Sith Assassin.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. All right, well, look, thanks so much for joining me in the commentary box, Oleg. I'm sure we'll have many more ventures together here. And I hope
Likewise.
the audience have enjoyed the commentary. I'm going to upload this onto YouTube, and we're going to try and do a weekly stream to cover these league games. So thanks again, guys. You've been watching the City City Space Slugs. This is the second episode of the TTS League, and we will see you very shortly. All the best.
Likewise.